Hey guys, this clip is specifically for those who don't really pay attention to the description first before watching a video. The following video that you're about to watch contains big spoilers on either the book or TV episode that I'm reviewing. So, just saying, you have been warned.
Hey there guys, so it's almost March 26th, and the reason why that day is going to be so special is because that it's going to be exactly 10 years since Doctor Who was revived in the year 2005. Of course, it's been going on since 1963 and is going to be having its 52nd birthday this November, but it was cancelled in 1989, brought back for a movie in 1996 before being cancelled again, and it was revived in 2005, and then the show got successful again, and it was able to continue running. And March 26th, 2015 is going to mark the 10-year mark since the revival of the show occurred. So I'm about to recap everything that happened since it was revived for you guys who don't know anything about the show. It may be like half an hour, but it's better than watching the whole thing, and it's also better than just watching the next episode without having any idea what's going on. So stay tuned. BBC tries their second attempt to bring Doctor Who back to live television. So it starts out in the year 2005. A young teenage girl named Rose Tyler, who has a job in a random clothes shop, an ordinary life. One day, all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, she's like the last one in the store and she's just about to leave. All the mannequins in the store come to life and begin to attack her before she's saved by some guy.
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name? Ron. Nice to meet you, Ron. Run for your life.
After the man saves the world from the world being taken over by the mannequins, the Doctor reveals that he's actually the last of an alien race known as the Time Lords, who travel through time and space in a spaceship, which is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, if you can wrap your head around that. And the outside is actually just a regular police telephone box, so that when people walk by, they won't see a giant spaceship there and be like, what the heck? Because the Doctor wants to be left alone, have as least people know about him as possible. And so they'll just walk by thinking that's a normal telephone box, which no one uses anymore. And so Rose travels through time and space with the Doctor. And after many adventures, and her family and her boyfriend finding out about the Doctor, the end of Series 1 arrives as the Doctor sacrifices himself to save his companion by sucking in the time vortex.
I'm regenerating.
Which begins to kill him. When Rose asks if he can do anything, he replies that he's doing it now. He says that every cell in his body is dying and it means that it's going to change. And he's never going to see Rose again.
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? So was I.
So the viewers are left on a cliffhanger until it returns for a Christmas special where Rose and her family learn that this is indeed the Doctor that they had adventures with. It's just that when he dies, he can change his personality and his appearance. So the Doctor saves the world again and again and again, and Rose has more adventures with him. until she accidentally falls into a parallel universe. And the Doctor is forced to say goodbye to her, but then soon he has to wrap up all his tears because then a woman in a wedding dress named Donna Noble suddenly appears in his TARDIS. And that remains a cliffhanger for Series 2 until another Christmas special for 2006, where it was revealed, I don't really know, something about liquid particles and a giant red spider thingy. I don't know. I watched it like 3 times and I still don't quite get what it's about. But anyway, so the Doctor offers Donna to come traveling with him, sort of like how Rose did. But she says no, as she realizes that what she had just experienced today with the Doctor, where they almost died and everything, is probably how the Doctor always lives. So she decides not to risk her life again and again and again, and to not travel with the Doctor. So stay tuned again for Series 3 in 2007, where the Doctor meets a new companion named Martha Jones, who she does agree to travel with the Doctor, this one. And after a few last calls, like, pretty much the Doctor doesn't really want Martha for some reason, and, like, for half the season it's just like, okay, I'll let you come for one more trip, okay, I'll let you come for one more trip, okay, I'll let you come for one more trip, until the viewers finally realize that the Doctor actually wants her to stay forever. And then eventually, after one last adventure, then the Doctor agrees to actually take Martha, and they will go on to adventures without the whole one last trip thing. So, during this series, the Doctor meets the Master, who is a Time Lord like him, and revealing that he's not the last one. Sorry, I forgot to mention that the reason why he's the last of his species was because that there was a war to end all wars, the last great time war, between his own people, the Time Lords, and the Daleks, which look like this. And the Time Lords lost. Everyone lost. Only a few Daleks survived until the whole species got revived, and the Doctor thought that he was the last one, as he couldn't detect any more Time Lords. However, it turns out that the Master actually ran away from the Time War because he was scared, and he turned himself into human. So he was technically human, not Time Lord anymore, and he completely forgot that he ever was Time Lord and thought that he was human his entire life. And when the Master remembers who he really is and becomes Time Lord again, it is revealed that he is mad, which is kind of, the Doctor is kind of also mad, but in a good way. He travels through time and space to save planets, and the Master travels through time and space to destroy them. So the Master gets shot and regenerates into a new form. So the Master takes the TARDIS back to Earth and becomes Prime Minister because, well, how did he win? Well, he's a hypnotist, and he hypnotized the people of planet Earth with the help of a drum beat. Ever since the Master was 8 years old and he was forced to look into the time vortex, he had this drumming in his head. Just a big old, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, repeating and repeating in his head, making him go mad. And he forced all the humans to just, casually do it. Maybe, take their mug cup and just tap it a little, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he hypnotized for them all to vote for him. So he is overpowered by the Doctor and Martha and Captain Jack, because, well, what can the Doctor really do? He's not really a superhero or anything, and he can't travel through time anymore because the Master stole his TARDIS and made it into an evil paradox machine. So the Doctor, Martha, and a friend of theirs, Captain Jack Harkness, who became immortal, which is kind of a long story, but anyway, so they're forced to suffer a year being slaves to the Master, until the Doctor stops him with the help of everyone thinking the word doctor at the same time, causing the Doctor to have superpowers, and I don't really know how that worked. But yeah, so the Doctor gets superpowers, and the Master gets shot again by a girl, which he thinks is very embarrassing, and the Doctor begs the Master to regenerate. Why? He just forced them to be slaves for years. Well, think about it. You're the very last one of your kind. All the humans are extinct, and there are no more out there. You're alone. You're alone in this universe filled with many different creatures, but you're the very last one of your species. And then all of a sudden, you find someone who is in your species, and you're the last two people on Earth. Does it really matter if he's bad, if he's a bad guy? No, it doesn't matter. You're the last two species on Earth. You thought that you were the last one, and then suddenly you find some guy. And also, the Doctor really doesn't think that anyone deserves to die. I mean, like, think about it. Think about all those bullies out there who you just wanted to shoot them in the head one time when you were at school. Think about, like, all those people who you thought were ruining your life. Well, think about it. Did they really ruin your life? Are you really in this world full of nothingness? Do you really not have a computer and you're not watching this video? And also, do you think that they deserve to die? I mean, like, sure, many, like, people can get thrown into jail. They could get ruined. But no one really deserves to die. But anyway, so back to where we were. So the Master decides not to regenerate, as all that he really wanted during his whole life was for the Doctor to lose at something and for the Master to win and be the boss. So he decided not to regenerate, to have the Doctor cry right over him. And so the Doctor burned his body, and Martha finally decided that her travels with the Doctor were finally up, and it was time not to travel with him anymore. Until the Doctor has an encounter with a previous self. Like, right now the Doctor is in his 10th incarnation, and he had an adventure with his 5th incarnation, which is from the classic series, like way back in the 1980s. And and then the Titanic crashes into the TARDIS. Another cliffhanger to the Christmas special, where the Titanic is in space. There's, I don't know, I think I have to rewatch that episode, but huge Christmas special thing. Nothing really happens in it until 2008. Yeah, 8. Where the Doctor meets Donna Noble again. Remember that woman in the TARDIS before at the Christmas special for 2006? Yeah, the Doctor met her, and this time she decided to come traveling with the Doctor, and this time she was sort of the main companion for that season. And the Doctor had this huge adventure with many more of his companions, including Rose Tyler, Martha Jones, Captain Jack Harkness, and a companion from way back in the 1970s named Sarah Jane Smith. And the Doctor gets exterminated by a Dalek and regenerates.
I'm regenerating.
And comes back with the same face and the same personality by absorbing it into his third hand, which he lost in the sword fight from the Christmas special way back in 2005. So the Doctor has another adventure, returns all the companions back to their own times, and Donna becomes part Time Lord, which starts to overwhelm her brain, and she eventually begins to die. So the Doctor is forced to wipe her memory. She needs to completely forget about the Doctor. Anything that has to do with the Doctor, anything that has to do with his spaceship, the TARDIS, just anything is just gone. Time for another Christmas special, where the Doctor battles Cybermen, which are people, they're metal men who were technically people once, and now they're metal men with no emotions, and now they want people to become them. They look like this. I'm just kidding, they look like this. So 2009 comes and the BBC takes this very long break. We call this era the 2008-2010 specials. Sorry, a cough there. Where during the years 2008 and 2010, a holiday special appears every now and then. That Christmas special in 2008 counted as one, and viewers had to wait till Easter to get an Easter special, and then till November to get an autumn special, and then till Christmas to get a Christmas special, and then New Year's Day to get a New Year's Day special. All of these specials, the Doctor just has a companion for that one episode, but then doesn't have anymore. Because he was just so upset. Rose was trapped in a parallel universe, and he was not going to see her again. Martha left him, and who knows when he's going to see her again. Captain Jack, he's with Torchwood now. He's got his own company that fights alien invasions, so who knows? Maybe the Doctor will meet him again, maybe he won't. But the main thing was Donna Noble. I mean, like, even worse than Rose. Because not only was the Doctor unable to see her again, she would not remember him. Why can he not see her again? Well, it's because if she sees him again, then there's a great big chance that she'll remember who he is and what the TARDIS is and all of her adventures, which will cause her to become Time Lord again, and her mind would explode. So the Doctor realizes that any companion that he takes, their end of their travels will probably turn out bad. Either that, or they're going to stay with him forever until they die of old age, which is another thing that you don't really want to see. It's kind of painful, isn't it? I mean, like, you can die and die and die again and always come back, and you're forced to watch your friends die and not be able to come back. And then the Doctor regenerates, or almost regenerates. The cause is radiation poisoning. He sacrificed himself to save another human. So yeah, he is about to regenerate again. And then he decides to hold it in, because then he goes to say goodbye to every single companion except Donna that he had. Just say goodbye to them all. How did he say goodbye to Rose Tyler? Well, it wasn't really a goodbye. It was actually a hello to her. He went back in time to the beginning of 2005, where Rose didn't even know who the Doctor was, and he just had one random conversation. She thought that he was a total stranger. And that was the first time that Rose ever met the Doctor, and the last time that the Doctor ever met Rose. And after the Doctor being forced to hold in his regeneration so much, it just kept on building up and building up until finally he just had to let it go. But by that time, so much regeneration energy was in him that just exploded, and the whole inside the TARDIS just collapsed in. So the Doctor gets a new face and a new personality, because there's no spare hand this time. And the Doctor crash lands into a young girl's house. Backyard, sorry. And, so So, the doctor thinks, hey, I've never really had a child companion before. This could be new. So why do you all of a sudden go from, I'm not going to have any companions again, to, hey, I'm going to have a companion again? Because remember, when he regenerates, he changes his personality too. And so the doctor jumps into his TARDIS, which is repairing itself, and he tells the little girl that he'll be back in 5 minutes. Gets it wrong and comes back in 12 years. So now Amy's an adult, and the doctor saves the world, and he's just like, okay, Amy, I'm just going to be gone, but I'm going to be here the next morning. And according to him, he does come back the next morning. Sorry, have a bit of a cold. But according to Amy, he was gone for another 2 years. So after 14 years of waiting, Amy finally gets to join him on his travels. And they travel through time and space together, as well as Amy's fiancé, Rory Williams, and sometimes River Song, where the Doctor and River both time travel, so they technically meet in the wrong order, sort of backwards. So like, according to River, every time that she meets the Doctor, he knows her less and less and less. But according to the Doctor, every time that he meets River, she knows him less and less and less. And I should also mention that there are these other creatures called weeping angels who look like statues to you guys, but anytime that you look away from them, they can move. No choice, it's a fact in their biology. They have to freeze into a stone the moment any living creature is looking at them. So the best thing that you can do is to make 2 weeping angels look at each other, because then in order for one of them to move, the other one will have to blink, which involves movement. Or put a mirror in them. Put a mirror in front of them. It turns out that anything that takes an image of an angel becomes itself an angel. So if you take a picture of a weeping angel, there'll actually be a weeping angel living in your camera. But think about it. If you put a mirror in front of them, then both the weeping angels are looking at each other, causing the same effect. And there are also these creatures called the Silents, who I'd like to describe them to you, but I can't remember what they look like. Why? Because anytime that you look away from them, you completely forget that you ever met them. And every time that you look at them again, you remember every encounter with them. So yeah, you never know when a statue could be a weeping angel. And of course you never know when a weeping angel could just be a statue. There may be a Silent standing next to you, and you may just not even remember it. In fact, once the Doctor even went to the recording of the first moon landing where Neil Armstrong did the famous "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," he interrupted it suddenly with a recording of a Silent saying, "You must shoot us all on sight," turning all the human race into murderers for all of time. So there's a gun somewhere in your house. There's a Silence in the same room as you. It's just you can't remember them right now. I mean, like, sure, you just looked over there, and you thought, there's no Silence there, what are you talking about? But there is. When you saw them, you remembered it. You remembered watching the moon landing, and like, honestly, you saw the moon landing once in your lifetime. No matter who you are, you saw the moon landing, and therefore you saw the Silence saying that you should kill them all on sight. So even though that you just looked there and you're like, there's no Silent there, that's not what happened. You looked over there, you saw a Silent, you remembered the Silent, you grabbed your gun, you shot it in the head, and then you looked back here and then forgot it, and now you're just like, there's no Silent here because you just shot it. It's on the ground. Go on, look at it. See, you remember it now? Now look back. See, now you're denying that there was ever a Silence there. Even though there is. Go on, look again. Now look back. See? You're denying that you saw a Silent, even though it was right there the whole time. You just can't remember it. But anyway, so back to where we were. So Amy and Rory get sent back by a weeping angel, go back in time. Yeah, if you're touched by a weeping angel, you'll either go backwards into the past, or they'll snap your neck. And Amy and Rory are lucky enough to go backwards in time to the past, and they're forced to live their life there. Wait a minute, you said that the Doctor was a time traveler. Can't he just go back and rescue them? Well, no, because the Doctor had already seen their tombstone that they died there in the past. If he goes back there, then that would create a time paradox, because then they would have never died there. So the tombstone never existed. So he never had any biological proof that they died there. So he never went. I don't know. It's a paradox. So yeah.